Well, welcome back to the Patient Magnet Podcast. My name is Jared Rohr. I am the CEO and owner of Aesthetic Conversion and your host of the Patient Magnet Podcast. We've been going through a series on your digital sales funnel, what it looks like to attract attention to your business and to convert that attention into leads. And eventually, and ultimately, the goal is how do we get butts in seats, right, into our patient chair. And so during that process, I found this incredible company, Darwill, that I wanted to introduce everybody to because I love an underdog, and Darwill is by no means an underdog. They're a very successful company. They're very successful. However, anytime I mention what they do to people, they always turn their nose up. They always, oh, they do what? So Darwill does print marketing, and most people say, "Oh, that's dead. Print marketing's dead." Or they'll talk to me about. I've told people, "What do you think about e-blasts?" "Oh, e-blasts are dead." And anytime I hear the majority of people saying this marketing channel is dead, I know that I should probably watch that channel because that means no one's there. That means you might be the only person in your zip code or on your street who has an excellent direct mail campaign or a direct or e-blast campaign or whatever. So I wanted to introduce Courtney and Jon to everybody, and I want to just pick your guys' brains on best practices, on things that you're seeing work in print marketing and what Darwill does. And the data points and things that you guys get access to are unbelievable. So why don't we start just with Courtney and Jon, if you guys could each introduce yourselves, and then we'll get all into what Darwill does.
Sure.
Love it.
Go ahead, Jon.
Yep. So my name is Jon Romano. Happy to be on the show, Jared. And I've been with Darwill for over 16 years now. And Darwill has taken tremendous leaps into a full service marketing company over the last 15 years. And today we are an organization that's over 70 years old. There's over 300 employees at Darwill. We're doing close to 100 million in sales, and it is primarily focused around direct marketing and direct mail, lead generation, and how do we drive traffic by leveraging data that's available to us today, and how do we turn that traffic into appointments, and how do we turn it into sales? And there's a whole bunch of ways we'll talk about that today, but it is a thriving channel that we've seen, like you have said, Jared, it is an underdog spot. People that don't do it well, I think, are the ones that run away. But for those that are diligent and really kind of follow through with how we approach this channel, the success is phenomenal.
Awesome. Thanks, Jon. And Courtney?
Yes, I am Courtney Smith. I've been at Darwill for just about a year, but I have been within the marketing industry for 25 years. And worked in various different capacities in both print and digital, and working with a number of different types of verticals, retail, consumer packaged goods, as well as now healthcare, med spa. So I'm really excited to be part of Darwill and really diving deep into who your customers are, where they are, and how they want to consume their information. So
yeah, and Courtney's going to be at a lot of the aesthetic shows this year. Jon, are you going as well, or Courtney, you're just going to be?
Yeah, we'll see how they tie into the rest of the calendar and the rest of the world. But
I mean, 100 million in revenue, Jon. You guys are spread nice and thin already, I imagine.
Right.
Correct.
So
Correct.
Hopefully we'll be seeing you guys at a lot of the shows. I know that I think you guys are going to be showing up at maybe like AmSpa or Aesthetic Next this year, which we love both of them, and possibly some other ones. Courtney sent me an email saying, "Hey, I don't want to be too much of a stalker, but what other shows are you going to?" And I said, "I will tell you every single one. Don't you worry." Cool. So let's go into a little bit about what Darwill does. I know that you said that they were full service, and we could talk about the full range of services Darwill offers, but I would love to focus on that direct mail component that you guys have. Obviously, that's one of the largest components that you guys that you have, but I'd love to hear more about what Darwill does, and maybe a little bit we'll get into how they do it, the magic behind the curtain.
Sure. I'll start, and Jon, please jump in where you can. Where you need to, but really we start with the data. Everything comes down to data. So we work with our clients on ingesting their customer data, and we start with the market analysis, a customer profile, to show our clients, this is where your customers are, this is who they are, what attributes are all alike, And then we model that data to find new prospective patients in your market area. And then ideally we sync up with your data, and then we use that data to have some automated trigger marketing that's really kind of a set it and forget it solution, so that you can, use a lot of your time more on developing your practice, developing practitioners, growing your practice in a different way.
Now, can you go a little bit more into that set it and forget it that you were just talking about? So what, like there are triggers in essentially the real estate market that, oh my gosh, a person with this kind of income bought a home in that
Yes.
zip code, poof, they get is that what I'm gathering?
Well, it's more of the data that's coming from the client. So let's just go with a med spa, the data that we're ingesting from a med spa. And we're saying, okay, this is the data that's coming in. Courtney Smith came in for Botox on January 1st. Let's send her a reminder on whatever, May 1st to tell her to come back in. Let's send her a notification or a direct mail saying, hey, you came in for Botox. Next time, why don't you think about Juvederm or some of those types, using the data to target your current audience in a different way.
Yeah. And I would even
awesome.
say at an even simpler term than that, I mean, everybody that has great patience and wants to stay engaged and build relationships. I mean, we want to say things like happy birthday, right? We want to say things like happy anniversary, right? So if that data is kept inside of your system and that is something that is passed along to Darwill, those are things that we want to just automatically do on a regular basis. We don't want to have conversations about them all the time. You don't want to transfer files to me. We want to set up rules that we are looking at events in the data and automatically sending out communications. And that really is where the power of data and automation is at today.
And those triggers are set up between us and the client. So we will work on those together and have those templates ready to go.
And are you guys building any integrations with like EMRs, like with like medical record companies, like, they're booking or whatever, and somebody finishes their Botox appointment or they finish their Dysport appointment. Are there ways to get that info to auto send to you guys, or does the clinic have to take a little bit of that burden on?
No, 100%. And John, you could speak more to that, but yes, 100% we are integrating with CRM systems throughout every different organization.
Yeah, I would say today Darwill has probably a dozen different CRM integrations today with companies all over the U.S. in different verticals, to where globally we're getting data passed to us, and then we're building event-based campaigns off of that data. So it is really the future of how to just be really responsible with your budgets, but to be intentional with your communication.
And what's so nice about that integration is, we talked to one client and they're integrated with aesthetic record, and if everybody is integrated with aesthetic record, that direct connection is already made, so it makes it that much easier then to use the data that's coming from there.
Do you guys have a direct integration with aesthetic record currently, or are you having the ability to get in the back end?
No,
a lot of those EMRs are like brick walls. Aesthetic record, I will say, is one that's very open to that. If you broach that conversation with them, I would be floored if they weren't like, oh my gosh, we'd love to figure out a way to get you some of that data. They have a massive API team.
We would love that.
That I love doing it. Yeah, done. Tiffany, if you're listening, you better reach out to my Darwill peeps, Tiff. Yeah. Now, you mentioned something a moment ago that I don't want to gloss over, because this is something that I would say the average clinic probably doesn't have. So the average clinic is guessing at a lot of their marketing. So you're going to find, especially, I imagine you've been in a lot of small business areas, a lot of the average clinic has an amazing practitioner, an amazing injector, or an amazing esthetician. They went to school for it. They're top of their class, and they said, I want to run my own business. Right. And now they're having to learn how to run their own business. They, after a few years, they typically get the hang of it. But in the beginning, they don't. So one thing that you mentioned earlier that I'd love for you to give a little bit more definition on, as well as why that matters, is customer profiles. How a clinic can define their target customer and how they can define that avatar, so that they know who they should be going for. Maybe if you want to go into a little bit of how you help them take their customer profile and select the right person to market to with Darwill.
Yeah, well, and not to, spoil the end here, but that's part of what we want to offer here is
Oh,
analysis, a customer
Hmm.
profile. And that's the beauty of the customer profile is if you don't necessarily know what your average customer looks like, we're going to tell you
yeah,
that. So we're going to
yeah.
take the data that you share with us and give you a nice, pretty picture of all the attributes that they all share, what they look
Hmm.
like, their income, their education, so many different attributes, and
Yeah.
where they are literally around your locations. So we will be
Mm.
feeding that back to you. And then from there, we can have a discussion about how we model that data and do some acquisition around that.
Yeah.
Wow. So you guys will essentially help if somebody doesn't have, which it'd be rare for somebody to have a really robust, here's what our exact customer profile looks like. And honestly, the most hyper successful clinics are the ones that have that info
Sure.
down. You guys would help them define that so that they know here's the geography I need to be targeting. Here is
Hmm.
the income range that I should be targeting. Here is the, and by the way, income range, I personally believe you guys can tell me is significantly lower than most people think it has to be.
I
Hmm.
agree.
Uh, I think oftentimes people say, "Oh, I want to only go for people who are making $250,000 a year plus, $300,000 a year plus," and it's like you can, and they can afford your services.
Right.
But
People find money for Botox.
I'm seeing a lot of 50,000, 75,000
Yeah,
average income people that are going for aesthetic services.
absolutely.
And especially with amazing services like cherry financing and ways that you can break up your payments,
Absolutely.
people are going for it. And sometimes we don't consider that the target demographic could be making 50 grand a year, 70 grand a year.
Absolutely.
100%.
And the
And
other
that's
thing
what,
that's great about our profile is if you are a multi-location um, organization, we can tell you what the profile looks by location. So it
Mhm.
may likely be very similar, but we will be able to share with you any differences in that. And then we can optimize a budget based on the opportunity around each location. So it's not just a cookie cutter, one size fits all as well.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And
Yeah. And the only
oh,
thing
go
I
ahead,
would
John.
add to that too, which is very significant, is in the industry today, basically you have the option to either pick zip codes or you can pick a radius around your location, right? So uh, we're using a lot of AI tools today that help define market area, and it looks at where all the patients are living, and it's deriving a marketing area that's based off of that drive times and
Hmm.
rural
Yeah.
versus metropolitan areas. All that matters as far as where people are going to come from to visit your location, right?
Hmm.
But after that data is ingested, what our technology does is it actually ranks scores every individual around your location. So it can tell
Mm.
you if you're only going to send out 10 pieces of mail, here's the top 10 people that we would go to first. They look identical to the people that you're serving today, right?
Yeah.
And as you go further down in the rank score, now these people start to look a little bit less, right? So our
Hmm.
job is to try to help find the sweet spot to say, hey, if you're
Yeah.
investing X into this channel, we are going to stick at this score range because we are seeing an ROI of X at this channel.
Yeah.
And so we can really tune it to that spot.
Now, if somebody, I could see a use case for this. Of, for example, I was just talking with good friends of mine, Amanda and Josh Holden. They just launched a new location down in San Diego, and they had this PR company help them that just crushed. It was the most well executed PR series I have ever seen anybody do for a pre-launch.
Nice. Nice.
And I could see somebody who is not opening their clinic yet, but looking for locations. I could see somebody like that partnering early with Darwill and
Oh,
saying, give me some info about where I should try to place my
Looking
business.
for real estate. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Hmm.
So that then when they end up launching, they can do some sort of a direct campaign that's like, look, we just launched in your neighborhood,
mhm.
use this QR code to get your first
Sure.
facial on us or whatever it is, or get a free B12 shot when you come in for a consultation.
Sure.
I could see that working super. Is there a use case for that with you guys, or is that a full
Yes.
on service offering currently?
That's
Absolutely.
100%. We do that in other markets today, all over the US, is trying to help owners find the next prospective place where the
Mm-hmm.
demographics are exactly what they're looking to serve. There's not a lot of competition involved. The retail spaces are available, and we do that all the time.
Very cool. That's
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's shift it a little bit here. Let's shift into the nitty gritty of what happens. Okay, so somebody says, Darwill, I want to do a direct mail campaign, and I want to send something out to everybody in this zip code. We've already done the customer profile. We figured out who the people are that we need to target. We've figured out other attributes about them that'll teach us even how to market to these people because we know what they like. Once we've identified all that and we're going to launch a campaign, what are direct mail strategies that you're seeing work? What are call to actions on that collateral that you're seeing? Oh my gosh, when people do this, it just is gangbusters. And what are some ways that you guys are tracking performance on those campaigns so that people feel the ROI?
Well, I'll start, and John, you can add again.
Yeah.
But I think the call to action is it has to be clear and concise, and it has to be mentioned multiple times, I think, on your piece. So I think having a strong headline on the piece, personalization is huge, which is where we really dive into that data that we are ingesting. So being personalized.
Like in the print, it's like, hey, Jared, like we get out of town. That is
Absolutely.
so tight. Get out.
Absolutely. And then as far as what you were asking about return, again, back to the data, we then can match back. If we are getting pieces from or getting data from you, we mail based on the data that we're ingesting, and then matching back by appointments made. So we're saying, yeah, we mailed this person that has an appointment. And then on top of that, I lost my train of thought. So I don't know, John, if you wanted to add anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, very similar. I think the unique part about a partnership with Darwill is we're producing typically around 10 million pieces a day.
Wow.
So our creative team and our reporting team is constantly looking at what drives response. And if we're designing campaigns in a way to drive response, does a closed envelope perform better than a postcard? Does a snap pack perform better than a newsletter that goes into a 6x9, right? So these are all little things that we've got so much data on to help us make a really good educated guess on where do we want to start? What does the offers need to look like? QR codes for sure in this space. We're using postcards and stuff. It's really easy for people to scan those and make an appointment. So we want to give people multiple ways to interact and make appointments. And that's really at the end of the day how we end up measuring. We look at mail that's sent out, appointments made, sales driven from those appointments, form fills, and we're able to give a real solid picture on the overall performance, right?
And speaking of that, what mediums are you seeing work really well for somebody like an industry like this that has maybe a little bit higher of a ticket sale price, maybe a little bit bougier of a client? Are you seeing flyers work better for something like that? Are you seeing postcards that are sealed up and looks like there's handwriting inside? What type of collateral are you seeing is working really well?
Typically today, letters.
Letters, like sealed letters, like with
an 8.5 by 11 folded into a tri-folded into a number 10 window envelope is a format today that is producing probably at the highest level out of all of our campaigns. But that changes on a regular basis.
Of course.
3 or 4 years ago, or maybe not even 3 or 4 years ago, gift cards, like a piece of plastic that has a here's a $50 off your next service.
That is awesome. That's awesome.
When people haven't, and we've got some tools that we use to derive our next creative test that we do, but when people start to look at the new and upcoming creative, we're trying to just figure out what's the open rate and what are people responding to, because if it just has to have a gift card on it, and that's the trend right now over this next 6 or 8 months. We're going to use that in the creative, and we can see that across all of our verticals. Right.
So are you guys?
I want to add is, I'm sorry, Jared.
No, I'm fascinated. Just go. Keep going.
I just wanted to add 2 things. Sense of urgency. I think that's also really clear. That's really important to have a sense of urgency. Put a deadline on it. Say, have to reach out by a certain time. And then lastly, again, you had mentioned it earlier that some of these practitioners don't have a ton of bandwidth within their organization. We do also have a call center that is available. So we
Oh,
could
that's
put a call
right.
center number, and then that call center could then help with some of that
Book
influx of calls.
appointments. Sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome. That is awesome. Yeah, the call center is a huge value add. It's something that I'm seeing pop up a little bit more and more in this industry, where people need it. I'll have clinics say, "Hey, Jared," I had one that said, "Jared, I want to change my autoresponder on my, people submit the form on our site and there's an automatic text that goes out. I want to change that text to say, please allow 24 to 48 hours to respond."
Mm,
And I'm like, guys,
right.
your local competition will have already treated this patient by the
Right.
time you respond, if that's the case. And they were
Exactly.
like, no, you think? I said, I promise they will.
Well,
Now,
and typically what we've seen too, just on that, Jared, really quick, it's a simple
Mm-hmm.
thing is if your cancellation no-show rate goes up by
Mhm.
20-30% if that appointment's not booked within those 3 or 4 days, right? So if we're booking
Wow,
people out
yeah,
2 weeks,
yeah.
3 weeks, 5 weeks,
Hmm. Yeah.
well, life happens and people start to cancel. So those are literally they actually make way more of an impact on the success of a campaign than sometimes simple things like did we use a postcard or did we use a letter, right?
Right.
So
Wow.
those are some of the metrics we try to help our
That
clients
that's
understand internally.
giant.
Yeah,
That is giant. So every clinic that is listening in here, I don't want a single one. If I hear one more clinician brag about having a 4-month waiting list, like you're just losing money. You are
Yeah.
just, it is not
Yes.
creating this sense
correct.
of scarcity. They're just going to go to somebody else. Okay. They're just going to somebody else. Even if you say, oh, my clinic has a 3-month waiting, it's like, cool. Like if that's what you want to work 2 days a week and you love being
Sure.
out and that's what you want, great. It is not a recommended business building strategy. Emily Ann
Right.
Scalise, Nichols MD, up in the Northeast, they have a policy internally that we will treat you within 48 hours of you calling.
Wow.
If you
Nice.
call, we will treat you within 48 hours. Will you get the preferred provider that you want? Maybe
Sure.
not, but you
Right.
will be seen, you will be consulted, and you will be treated within 24 to 48 hours.
That's
Um,
huge. I just heard a stat. I'm going to get the number wrong, but I think by like 2027, the med spas in the United States will have doubled. The number of med spas will have doubled.
Yes. Yeah, I'd be shocked if that number wasn't even bigger with
More
the
than
amount
that.
of with the amount of laws that are being laxed on
Sure.
that are being released, as well as
The
the
wait
amount
time.
of people that are growing in the industry. It's easier and
Yeah.
easier to get in,
Yeah.
and it's such an
Just makes the
amazing
competition more
profitable
fierce.
space.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. And private equity is coming in really fast,
Yeah.
and they're going to want to scale this
Oh,
sucker
yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that was so. I want to just grab that metric one more time that you said, John. Is that you said that the no show rate goes up by 20% if they're
Yeah.
not seen within 4 to 5 days, like
Yeah.
basically within a
Yeah,
week.
within the week of when the call comes in to book an appointment.
Holy smokes! If you did
Yeah.
not just hear that as a clinician, if you don't get people on your books within that week, your
Yeah.
no show rate goes up by 20%. That's
Yeah.
crazy. That's
Yeah,
one
and
in 5, guys. You're
and
losing
you
1 in 5 patients because you don't have an open schedule.
and you'll see
Wow.
a lot of people use like a 3 day or 5 day event window, like, hey, we're offering this during this 3 days or this 5 days in order to force themselves to book it during that time. Because
Sure.
if I
Yeah.
just offer something for the month of March, well, I got some time and I don't have to
Yeah.
necessarily call today to do that. Well,
Hmm.
when you're talking about marketing and investing dollars into this channel, we're looking at it as a return on your investment. So
Yeah.
I've got to prove that out and use practices to help you grab that as quick as possible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Now, one other thing I want to touch on, and then we'll go a little bit deeper here as well. I love this conversation, guys. I've been
So do I.
fascinated. I've been fascinated by you guys since I heard about you. One thing, John, that you talked about earlier, and I wanted just to poke at it, just to see if there's something more here as well, is you talked about open rates. Do you guys do you track open rates based on performance of the campaign, like who comes in, or is there another magical way you can track whether or not people are looking at the mail?
Yeah, I would say the overall, and this is getting a little technical terms, but we look at it from like a waterfall perspective. So if I mail, 10,000 pieces of mail and I get a 0.5% response rate, right? From there, I'm looking at, well, from that response, how many of those people are, take me off your list, repeat callers, whatever it is, right? So I've got to narrow that down, and that actually comes into what we would call like an appointment that you can book, right? Now,
Yes.
if you've got a booking rate of, depending on your schedule, of 80%, well, that becomes the next number in the waterfall. And after that appointment shows up, now we've got your, hey, if it's maybe there's a medical referral, or maybe there's something that happens inside of the inside of your practice that is moves patients away. But after that, it's like, well, then what did we sell? How many people did we sell? And what was the dollar amount tied to that? So all of those little key metrics off of a campaign are super important. And we use that to really judge the significance of, because I can get a really high response rate, and then all of a sudden at the bottom line go, gosh, this didn't perform really well. And I go, well, what happened? Something in the middle must have happened, because I got the calls, I got the appointments, but something changed. So it's really important to look at all those metrics. And that's going to be different.
And across the board, what kinds of offers, I mean, maybe, and you can go broad because you guys have such a giant business. What types of offers are working right now? Is it percentages off? Is it a free gift when you come in? I know you mentioned the gift card thing, which I think is very brilliant. And I would love for someone to send out gift cards to their business would crush. What types of offers are you seeing perform well that you think med spas could probably adopt?
I'll take one comment, Courtney, and then you jump in. But so I want every listener to know that depends on the channel of the database. So if I'm if I'm talking to customers and I've got triggers happening and I've got communication happening, right? Well, those offers are going to be dependent on what that person, what they look like inside of the database and what next thing we're offering them, right? As we move from that spot, well, then we're looking at basically just general offers that we can send to patients.
Like a net new.
We may go into new movers. We may then go into full-based prospecting, where we could get more aggressive with offers. So depending on the database that we're talking to, the offers are going to change.
Totally.
Yeah. Is that, Courtney, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I was going to say, I think it depends on current, lapsed, or prospective customers.
So let's maybe take it from the perspective. So if it's a patient that doesn't have great leads coming in and they're like, how do I get a bunch of new people? And they say, Darwill, I want to, this is the type of patients I've got. I want to blast something out to people that look just like this kind of person. And they want a bunch of new patients. How aggressive should they get in order to get somebody to say, oh, you know what? I'll try you, because they don't know them. They've never met them before. Yeah.
I know time is money, so I don't want to say time is what you should give away, but I do think free consultation is probably a pretty safe offer. Anything really that says free on it will definitely garner a better response rate. But I do think free consultation in this industry would help a lot. And whether it's a free consultation on skincare or aesthetic treatments, laser, whatever that is, I think free consultation is probably a really good bet to go. Just because I don't know that if you're prospecting, you don't want to assume that everybody's looking for Botox or assume that everybody's looking for filler. So a consultation would be a great option first.
Yeah, and if you've got really specific things that you want to focus on in your practice, there's lots of creative campaigns that we use that have multiple offers. So I'm not going to box everybody into maybe just one thing, like Courtney said, but I'm going to offer multiple things on this campaign that I'm running for this time period, right? So I can throw a wider net as far as buyers in the market today and who I'm speaking to. But the main thing is am I in front of the right people? Like that's really what gets overlooked in the value of what we bring to the space is this intelligent view, customer profile. Is your marketing area tight? Am I going to if I can have the greatest offers in the world, if I'm not hitting the right people, it doesn't really matter, right?
And on top of that, I also think, I know that a lot of these med spas have retail that they need to also push some of the retail products. So I think that could also be an avenue with prospects, is trying to talk about the SkinCeuticals they have, or whatever retail products that they have on their shelves that they can discount in order to get people to come in.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, I think that is something that is so refreshing to hear about you guys in the print space specifically, is that I think people would think about print and think, oh, you're just throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. But it's so refreshing to hear how many individualized data points you guys can put together and hit one person with accuracy, rather than just because oftentimes with social media, with so many other platforms, you are throwing mud at the wall to see what sticks. You're just blasting it out to everybody at once and hoping that you have the most widely acceptable content, that the most people are going to opt into your funnel. And with something like this, you can throw it to a person. You can talk to one person. I think there is so much power in what you guys offer. I think this is really cool. Okay, so
and I would just add, don't forget too, that the data that we use to build models and all this stuff, that can be used from a digital perspective as well. We can take this prospect database that we built off a model, go into Facebook with the same creative, the same campaign, and go feed that data over and go chase the same people at the same time through multi-channels. That's where it starts to get really powerful, right?
That's very, very cool. Yeah,
Well,
I'm excited.
I think, Jared, we talked about this. I mean, you and I spoke before about the web retargeting as well. So then anybody that visits your website that's doing a little bit of reconnaissance on their own, behind in the comfort of their own bed, to see what is offered at these med spas.
Yeah.
We see that they visited your website. We can send them a direct mail piece within a week. So that they automatically can be given that. And then we can see what we need to offer them in that case.
That is nuts. So pixel targeting on a website, somebody hits, they get cookied. Every time you hit accept cookies, guess what? Darwill's got your number. Okay. Okay. They're going onto the site. They go onto a Botox page or something like that, or they go into a filler page. The data sent back to you guys, and you can send them something specific that says, oh my gosh, we'd love to see you.
Maybe with an offer on it because they didn't do anything on that first. Correct.
That's so cool, guys. That is so powerful. That
Mail
is so powerful.
Not dead. It is not dead. I'm telling you.
I completely agree. By the way, that mail's not dead. I've been on your team this whole time.
My gosh! I think there's I guess an inherent sense of authenticity with an actual mail piece, and it just is, you're bringing it into your home. You're allowing it to come into your home, and so I think it's a trusted piece, and it also has staying power. I don't know about you guys, but there are some times where there's mail sitting on my countertop.
That's true.
For a month, or on my desk, or sitting in my car. So that brand recognition is always in your face.
Yeah, that's true. Now, what kind of obviously every result can be completely different. Everybody's performance in working with you guys is going to vary wildly depending on their business. But what are maybe some case studies, or what are maybe some success stories? You don't have to share specific names or anything, but numbers that you're seeing people be able to achieve, and the kind of growth that they're able to get by working with you guys, or performance that they're able to get by working with you guys.
Sure.
Yeah, I'll just go from a high level, and Courtney, you can dig in. But I mean, typically when we're looking at what we do for our clients, we're looking to provide a return on the investment. So, Jared, we talked about this before. Our best exchange is if you give me $1 and I give you $5.
Oh,
right?
Tell him the story, Joe. John. Sorry, not Joe. John, tell him the story. This is just to show you that these guys are real marketers.
Yeah.
I'm going to use this at a conference at some point, guaranteed. Yeah. This is so. John went to a conference, and tell them what you did to get a lead magnet when you guys had your booth.
One of the conferences we went to years ago, we actually got the database of everybody that was attending the conference, and so what we did is we mailed every single person $1, and we said, hey, we are at booth number X. Come and see us. Bring this $1. We've got something we want to show you. So we had people showing up with $1, and they'd walk up, they'd give us $1, and we'd say, okay, awesome, and we'd hand them a $5 bill back, and they'd go, okay, well, what's the catch? And we said, no, there's no catch. as a marketing company, this is the exchange that you should be thinking about your investment from a marketing standpoint. You need to look at it as, I'm going to pay you to perform, to gather leads, to bring appointments, to bring sales. And at the end of the day, I will continue to give you $1 if you give me 5.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
That's how we want it to work. And we feel like as a performance-based company is what we would call ourselves. That's how our value is set in the market today, right? If I can perform at that level for you, I'm going to have a partner in you for a lifetime, right?
Exactly.
And that's how it should be. That's how it should be built.
I completely agree. That's our exact philosophy. I will die for our clients because I know that if they're successful and we help them be successful, that we'll stay successful forever as well.
Exactly.
I think that's such a great partnership-based philosophy. You're not looking to make a quick buck off someone. You want someone that you can work with forever and see continued mutual success.
Absolutely.
I think that is awesome. Okay, so I know that you guys have a special offer for everybody that is listening. Why don't you share with the audience what you guys are ready to give out to the Patient Magnet?
Yes, absolutely.
Audience.
Well, we're excited. What we want to do here is collaborate with you guys and get on a call and talk about what your goals are and how we can help you grow. So if you visit darwill.com, DARWILL.com, and click on Let's Talk, fill out the form and mention that you heard us here on the Patient Magnet podcast, we will then do a free market analysis and customer profile for you.
That's huge.
Yeah.
What would they normally pay a consultant to do something like that? If they paid somebody to come in, look at all of their local market and build out a customer profile, what would they normally pay like a consultant to do that?
You're going to pay in the open market today probably north of $8,000 to $10,000 for an analysis from a consultant that's got to go get your data and go hook up to the national Axioms database and to run all this stuff. You're going to pay significantly for it. And that's really the beauty of our company too. We're bringing big data solutions that typically just really large companies have access to today. And we're bringing it to guys that have 1, 2, 5, 20, 100 locations and allowing them to get smart with their marketing.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Yeah. Well, you guys are great. And I'm telling every single person that is listening, go on to darwill.com, at least go through the process and do a market analysis. It's the best thing you can do for yourself. Do a quick market analysis. Let them show you what's available in your area. You will not regret it. These guys so far are great. I'm big fans, and I agree. I don't think that print is dead. So thank you so much, everybody, for listening to the Patient Magnet today. Again, my name is Jared Rohr, and I own aestheticconversion.com. If you're looking to upgrade your website or upgrade your SEO efforts, go to aestheticconversion.com and book a meeting with us. And thank you to our guests over at Darwill, Courtney and Jon. If you guys are wanting to expand your local reach, you're wanting to maybe try out some new marketing channels or new ways to reinvigorate your existing list, head on over to darwill.com with 1 L, 2 L's?
2 L's.
2 L's.
2 L's. Darwill.com and fill out the Let's Talk little form that they've got. Click Let's Talk, fill out the form, mention that you're from the Patient Magnet podcast, and they're going to hook you up with an amazing market analysis. So thank you guys so much for joining. I'm so grateful that you're here.
Thank you so much, Jared. So much fun.
And I'm going to see you at AmSpa, right?
I'll be at AmSpa,
yep.
We'll be
Absolutely.
there. I'll see you both at AmSpa. We'll party there. It'll be great.
Yes, we will. Thanks so much, Jared.
Amazing.
All right.
All right.
Okay.
Bye-bye.